What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back for another episode of the Doug Polk Podcast. We got a special one today. Two of my new partners at the Lodge are joining to talk about all things Lodge, poker vlogging, and much, much more. Brad, Owen, and Andrew Neeme will be joining us shortly here. Looking forward to hear what they have to say. Should be a good one. But before we jump into that, 2 weeks from today, Charlie Lee, the Litecoin founder, will be joining the podcast. You guys can tune in for that one. And next week, guest to be determined. Still figuring that one out, actually. We had some last-minute shuffles. Anyway, with that out of the way, I do want to let you guys know quickly about CoinFLEX. Today's podcast is brought to you by CoinFLEX. CoinFLEX is a cryptocurrency derivatives exchange and is the home of crypto yield for people to both trade and earn crypto. The CoinFLEX platform provides an array of products that serve investors and traders of all skill levels, from passive beginners to active experts. What I'm most excited about with our new partnership with CoinFLEX is exploring the many opportunities that people can use to make money today. Whether it's trading, automated market making, or simply holding flexUSD, there are so many ways to explore earning money now. CoinFLEX can help you make the most from crypto, allowing you an opportunity to take charge and chart your own course to your financial destiny. So what are you waiting for? Head on over and check out CoinFLEX at www.coinflex.com. Legal disclaimer, none of the information contained here constitutes an offer to buy or sell any currency, product, or financial instrument, to make any investment, or to participate in any particular trading strategy. All right, let's go ahead and introduce today's guests, Brad, Owen, and Andrew Neeme. Welcome to the pod, guys.
Good morning. I'm a little jealous that you trademarked the open "What's up, guys." Anytime I'm about to say that in a video or a stream or whatever, I feel like I can't say that. That's Doug's line. I have to come up with a different opening.
Ouch. You know, I've actually I've gotten mixed feedback at points on "What's up, guys." There was a Survivor episode recently. I don't know. You guys watch the show Survivor ever?
Not too much.
Not really, no.
So there was an episode where the main host, Jeff Probst, by the way, this guy's a legend. He's been hosting Survivor for my whole life. I don't know, at least my adult life, 20, 25 years, something like that, still hosting the show. And he has a signature phrase that "come on in, guys," when they do like challenges and stuff. And he asked the audience if that was an okay thing to say or not, or asked the contestants, and they kind of thought about it and said no. So they had to get rid of the "come on in, guys." So I don't know. The guy's word is in dicey territory. So Andrew, maybe if anything, it's helping you here.
I guess, yeah.
I think in poker, it's like, the audience is typically like 95% plus dudes. So I think we get a free pass there.
And of course, you say that having been able to see your analytics, right, Brad? You know the specifics on the audience.
Yeah.
And anytime you forget, you got, at least for me, I have that 97.3% just staring back at me. I'm like, yep, yeah. that sounds about right. Actually, I was also told here in Texas, I got to change the slogan to "What's up, y'all." I don't know if I can do it, but maybe I just got to embrace it and just get going. Could be the play. All right. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining today. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Exciting times. Obviously, this recent partnership with the Lodge, for those of you that have not heard about this yet, I don't imagine that's too many people, but we recently bought a stake in the Lodge, which is a card room here in Austin, Texas. Actually, technically in Round Rock, but it's basically in Austin, Texas. 60-table room, and I'm extremely excited about the future of that business. It's, in my opinion, the best place to play in Austin already. Definitely the biggest place to play, the most games going. And me, Andrew, and Brad have been carefully negotiating out a deal for the last several months, and finally things are into action.
Yeah, pretty excited about it. I feel like I've been missing out, even though there's no actual like event going on the calendar right now down there at the Lodge. Just with all the like post announcement excitement and buzz that's been generated here, I feel like I should be there immediately, and yeah, I can't wait to get down there.
Yeah. One thing that I want to say to you, Doug, that we haven't even talked about this like privately or anything, is just how much work you put into it behind the scenes for the last, whatever it is, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever, getting it all done, running point on it. So thanks for doing that. I mean, you and Jake in particular.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I've definitely put some hours in, but Jake is the unsung hero here. I can't even tell you how many documents have been sent back and forth where it's, Jake and me, and I'm like, Jake, just You got this one right. He's like, yeah, I got this one. So he's been tireless with those efforts, and I think that when we started this, so for those of you guys that, well, I guess no one knows this because I haven't talked about this before, but something like I think 5 or 6 months ago, I approached you guys and said I want to do something in Austin, something in that time frame. Maybe it was a little longer, I don't know. And originally, we were planning on building our own room. We thought that was probably the best way to go about things. We were excited for that. And so that's kind of when this started. And when I first moved to Austin, I saw these clubs. I thought this is a great spot to get involved in this industry. Who are the people that I'd want to bring in? And I mean, you guys were the first two people that, I mean, you guys are such a natural fit. It's awesome to have you on board. And yeah, I think we're gonna do great things here.
I think it's a strong team. I think it's a fun one. Just hanging out with you guys down there and being able to rotate visits. I think it makes for kind of a dream team here. But yeah, I don't know if like people would be interested in hearing more about that backstory. I'd be kind of curious to hear how Jake went from this mixed game player and then coach into deal maker and behind the scenes guy, just getting it all done.
Sure. So I met Jake something like 12 years ago, 11 or 12 years ago. And actually, the first time I met him, I hustled him pretty good because we went bowling and I met him there. And we were bowling and I said, okay, I'll bowl left-handed. Let's do a left-handed bowling competition. And I'm ambidextrous. So we switched over and I beat him out at $40 or whatever. And he said, you know what? This guy's going to be a lifelong friend. So that's where we met. And Jake's always been a very good poker player. He's been his background's limit hold'em, played a lot of that. We actually lived together at a couple of different points. Once in Vancouver, I remember thinking, oh man, I'm living with a limit hold'em pro. This guy's gonna be so technical. He's gonna be super into the math. It's gonna be great for my game. I'm gonna get some fundamentals. And then I was just watching him play once, and he's just opening kind of whatevs. And I said, oh, that's an open? And he goes, oh, I don't know. I'm like, you're a limit hold'em player. I feel like you should know what hands are opens and whatnot. And I started asking him some questions about Poker Tracker because obviously Poker Tracker is an important tool to use when you're playing online poker. And he said, oh, I haven't looked at my hands. I said, what? It was very eye opening. I thought limit hold'em was going to be all super technical people.
I would think so as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such small edges, right? But the thing is, Jake is a very smart guy, and he's a very good critical thinker. So he's kind of just always gotten by just by being kind of wily and pretty naturally sharp, I think, at strategy games. So that's kind of how the background on Jake. And then he transitioned into mixed games. So he actually did a course on Upswing. I did the Upswing mixed game course.
Yeah, I get ads. I still see ads for that like every couple days, I feel like.
Good. That means we're doing a good job over at Upswing. So anyway, he transitioned over to that. I think mixed games had a real soft spot in sort of the mid, let's call it 2013, 14, 15, mid. What are like the 2010s called? Mid-10s, mid-teens? I don't know.
Seems good.
Whatever. There was a lot of action going on at that point in those games, especially at high stakes. So he kind of got more into heads-up mixed game stuff and some ring mixed game stuff as well. And then the thing about Jake is he's always been investing in random businesses that I've managed to tail in on. He'll always say, I'm doing this. So I've got the experience of being involved in a lot of different businesses with Jake. There was one particular business, I actually probably should disclose which one, but we had a huge run up and then we had a huge run down. I'm talking some incredible swings. It was absolutely massive, life-changing money. And at one point it looked like it's probably the most devastating thing financially that either one of us has ever had happen. But at the end of it, I had invested, I don't know, 150K or something, and I got 155K back. So I'd made 5K, but it was the most devastating investment I've made in my entire life. So we went down that road. I'm still invested in a bunch of businesses with Jake, and just been friends with him for a long time. And whenever we're doing finance stuff, I try to bring him in. It's good to have all three of us. I think are kind of similar in that we do mostly public-facing stuff. So we're used to content and trying to create things for people to watch and kind of that side of things. But none of us are finance wizards. I know I'm not. So I think he kind of balances that out. He's good with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Brad and I have a little bit of that. Brad's got the accounting background, but as far as like startup businesses, Brad is probably a little bit or a lot different.
A lot different than you?
No, a lot different from what you were working on when you were in accounting.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we try to approach this venture of getting involved in card rooms on our own, which we did kind of discuss. We would have been completely lost in a myriad of ways.
Yeah, Brad and I, we talked about doing this basically for years. I think, just like the general idea of an ownership role in a card room, probably in Texas. So, I mean, whether it was like just us reaching out to other people or other people come to us with the idea, it's definitely been like in the background and like in our minds as a possibility, but it was never really feasible. Just like between the two of us, we didn't have the right pieces in place. I don't think like anywhere close, especially like seeing, like being on all the phone calls that we've been on since, discussing this, like looking back on that and imagining it's like just me and Brad and maybe whoever else has the random person has the idea. Like I'm sure it would have just been a disaster if we decided to pursue it, just especially compared to this. Like maybe we would have got there, maybe we would have got to the finish line or something, but it would have been nowhere near as streamlined and as reasonable of an option as this turned out to be.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations where you don't know what you don't know, and seeing you guys talk with all the lawyers and everything, and doing all the due diligence, that's something that I think we would have been pretty lost with. But going out to Texas is something that Andrew and I have been doing now for, I don't know, the last like 3 years at least. So we've probably done more events there than any other state.
Wow. I didn't realize that. I guess I kind of would have assumed LA. I feel like you guys are out in LA a good amount. Obviously Vegas over the summer, but didn't realize you guys have been to Texas that much.
Yeah, California a lot as well, but yeah, with the different major markets in Texas, yeah, lots of trips to Texas.
Even some like small ones, like we went to Odessa, went to Rio Grande Valley, couple.
Yeah. A popular destination spot, the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting though too. I mean we've had like a lot of fun and we've had good experiences with all the card rooms in Texas. So it's it puts us in a bit of an awkward spot now, kind of being like direct competitors with people we were promoting before. But I mean the whole idea is to, in my mind, grow poker in Texas. The biggest battle that I think everybody has right now is a lot of people just don't know that poker is like up and running in Texas in these semi-regulated card rooms.
You know what I like about this podcast so far? We're only 10 minutes in here, but it has a very natural feel to it. I feel exactly the same as when we talk off the podcast, as we're kind of going back and forth. It has a good sort of very, very authentic, natural conversation. At some points, I almost forget we're even on the pod. You're saying, it's awkward for us with these other rooms. Thinking, yeah, that's true. Like, wait, we're on a podcast right now. Yeah, that's got to be kind of strange with all these other rooms that you've promoted in the past. Obviously, you guys had a business model beforehand, and still currently to some extent, where you go to these rooms and promote them, sort of doing meetup games, and basically with different rooms. It's got to be a little bit different now that you own your own room. So you're actually channeling it into something that's going to have long-term tangible value for you rather than just getting paid to go to a trip to a room.
Yeah, that was essentially the reason why we've talked about this idea for so long, is that a lot of the energy that we've been putting into the meetup game model has been devoted towards promoting other people's things. Card rooms and casinos and stuff. And it works out. It definitely worked out for everybody as it went. And it's, in other markets, we'll still do it. We're still going to go to LA every other month. And we've got some other places we'd like to go to still. So it definitely makes sense. And it works out for everybody. Whether that's like the people showing up looking for something a little bit different from the usual game that they play all the time. And for the card room, they get great promotion, and for us, it was cool to have places to go and do our filming thing and have the value seen, the value in the channel and the videos seen. So, yeah, it definitely made a lot of sense. But to be able to point all that energy inward towards our own thing is something we've been talking about doing for a long time, and happy that it's that we have something to do that now.
Yeah, and to have equity in something that's going to last longer than perhaps interest in our YouTube channels is pretty nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, even having the YouTube channel is cool. It's like it's your own thing, but even then, it's like it's still a YouTube account. You know, you don't really own the account. They can take that away at any point too.
Yeah, that has happened to a lot of people. We've seen a lot of strikes, especially in poker. People have dealt with a bunch of that. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure this happens to you guys all the time. If you use royalty-free music, all of a sudden someone else claims the song and now they're trying to go after your stuff. So
yep.
I get emails every day. Oh, this video is no longer monetized because someone else owns the rights to the song that was copyright free. And now it's not. And that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem on YouTube. I feel like if you post something while it's copyright free, people shouldn't be able to buy that song later and then come after you for what you made 3 years ago when it was copyright free. That just doesn't seem right to me.
Andrew used a song that was called like "This is copyright free," and then got a strike for it later.
Yeah, they literally put that in the title of the track, and then they did what you're talking about. They sold it to a distribution company, and then monetized the video. Demonetize it on my end, but you can't go through the appeals process and be like, well, you know, this creator gave permission to artists for it to be able to be used for free. And I think when it's that sort of a case, it usually gets cleared up. But music in general is a huge pain in the ass. But now we have the lodge and we can play whatever music we want at the lodge.
There you go.
I think I actually don't know how that works, but
actually probably not. Now that I'm thinking about it, probably not. I want to talk about YouTube and vlogging stuff in a bit, but I just kind of want to stay on point on the lodge. And Andrew, what you brought up earlier, we were talking about all the different moving parts. I think people don't realize all the stuff that goes into having a card room and trying to make it successful. The first thing, of course, is you have the logistical operational side where you actually have to run a physical room with money and chips and people and make sure that that's done well. And when we started to put together a team, it became very clear we don't have that guy, right? We have all the other things, but we need someone that actually can run a room well, because it's great if you can promote a room. I think that between the three of us, we can do a great job of promoting any room that we got behind. But if the room sucks, it doesn't really matter. You have a shitty room, right? So you need to have someone that knows how to operate these rooms. And I think that's why it ended up making a lot more sense for us to partner with a current room than build something ourselves, because we simply just don't have the expertise. And I put out a tweet asking people to apply to be able to run a room, and I got some pretty reasonable responses, but a common theme there was, hey, I've run a room in this country. Hey, I've run a room in this state, not Texas, not the US, not in Austin. And so am I going to just trust someone to kind of come in that doesn't know this area and try and build something? It's kind of far-fetched to put that much faith in someone that is just randomly applying on the internet. So it's kind of tough to find somebody with that skill set.
Yeah, it made such a huge difference in both like getting our heads around the whole idea as well as the timeline between starting it ourselves from the ground up and sourcing everybody versus a partnership with a room that's already up and running, and not only up and running, but doing very well. So like, yeah, when we were talking about getting this thing off the ground, you know, it's just thinking about like trying to source all these different people, whether it's dealers, which is already an issue right there, just under the current circumstances, and then trying to convince all the right people to leave where they're at and into our thing, which I'm sure would have been doable eventually, but just taking all those months or however, you know, maybe even years to get around to everybody and have all the right pieces in place was a lot to get our heads around.
Yeah, and just Jason, you know, the guy who's been running it since day one, just does a amazing job with the operations. I mean, I've honestly only played there for a couple hours, but anytime someone comes to Vegas and they say they're from the Austin area, that they just say like the absolute best things about the lodge. I've never heard anybody say such nice things about their home poker room, which is it just is a testament to how good of a job he's done. And so I don't think that we could have competed on an operations level if we had to hire people ourselves. And I don't think that they could have really competed in terms of like marketing against three of the top poker channels, you know, and YouTube.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Still in there. Still just maybe. Yeah, it's top-ish. I'm still top-ish.
I feel lucky to be on the same podcast as you guys. Wonder how many more subs I'm going to get just sitting next to you guys here.
Honestly, Andrew, I think if we put videos out, they still won't do as many views as Brad. So realistically,
Yeah,
Brad's the heavy hitter here at this point.
We'd have to combine forces here to get those numbers.
All right, we'll team up. Easy enough. Also, talking about so that's the logistics side, right? You need someone that knows how to run a room. It's a great place to play, and it's a great place to deal. I like that you bring up the dealer aspect. I've talked to a bunch of staff at the lodge, and maybe it's partly because now I guess I'm kind of their boss in a way, but everyone has had awesome things to say. And when I first got to the lodge, Jason said, all the dealers think this is the best place to deal. And I said, okay, it's easy to say that when you're the owner, right? And I talked to the dealers, and more or less, without exception, they've said that this is the best place to deal, or it's around the best place to deal, because it's the people tip well, and it's a little bit more casual environment than it would be in, let's say, like a Vegas casino where there's specific regulatory things and licensing. So more flexibility. One of the dealers was extremely excited. He gets to wear shorts. So there's a little more flexibility going on with the room there, and the dealers do seem to really enjoy it. On the online side too, that was where I felt like I could kind of bring my whole team in. It's been nice to kind of plug the upswing guys from the marketing perspective into the lodge, because we've built a lot of websites, we've run a lot of social accounts, we know how to build out email lists and market and look at all the different avenues for marketing. So we kind of gotten to take sort of those things with Matt Coletta and Mike Brady from Upswing, and they just naturally plug right into that area. And then with trying to figure out the best way to create streamed content, obviously, and events. Thomas has, my editor, Thomas Seriously Serious. He's a great natural fit there. So there's been kind of it's just been an awesome being able to put together sort of the dream team. Who would I want to really make this pop? Get that group together and plug it into a business that's doing awesome and knows how to run a room. I'm extremely excited for what the future holds.
You mean you're not writing all those emails that I get from Upswing yourself? I thought you were, it says, see you at the tables, Doug, or whatever it is at the end of it.
Andrew, I actually personally write those to you. Yeah. I wake up in the morning and I say, okay, let's see. Oh, Andrew, dear Andrew. I don't know if I put dear Andrew. But
it's very personalized. Hello, Andrew. Good morning.
Only the best. Only the best. Yeah, I fire out about 500K of those every Wednesday or Tuesdays. Right?
I'm shocked you have employees. That's amazing.
I still get people that. So the Upswing Poker account will tweet something, and I'll sarcastically respond because that's kind of my shtick. And then somebody will be like, oh, wow, responding to your own tweets, huh? Hello? You think I'm doing every Upswing post? You think that's my job? As I wake up and I just, okay, time to get my meme in on Upswing today. And then this will be great. I'll post the meme, and then I'll respond to my own meme. Who are these people? It's unbelievable.
I mean, you're describing my life. Like Brad and I, we've done this thing without an assistant, without an editor. This is 5 years worth of vlogging, not a single person helping out.
I'm always very jealous of Fees when he's on the conference calls that we're on. Just, he just has the assistant there writing down notes. I don't know what he's doing, but
that's my assisant.
Oh, that's your assistant. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Fees' assistant was in there one time, at least.
Yeah, that's my during meetings. She'll just take notes so that I have them after. Yeah.
How's the self tanner business going?
We are right on the brink of being able to sell units. Right on the
really?
absolute brink. Yeah. We've had supply side issues for just over and over and over again. Everything's been backed up, and then we finally started to get some product, and we should start trying to sell very shortly. We've been reaching out to influencers and getting all of our cost per click ads campaigns going on Facebook and stuff. So
is this the first that like the audience is kind of hearing about this, or have you been chatting about this?
I think I've mentioned it
publicly that I saw. Otherwise I wouldn't have just outed you like that.
It's all good. I even if I had it before,
I think is when I saw it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So my wife and I have started a company called Naru Organics. It's a self-tanner company. It's totally my wife's brainchild. She's really into organic things, and the self-tanner industry has a lot of chemical-ridden, horrible products. And so she got just really tilted because all of her organic options were shitty. They were just really shitty. And all the good ones sucked from an ingredient standpoint. So she spent 3 to 6 months in the lab, whipping them up, trying out all these different recipes. I don't even remember how many lotions I smelled. It's just a completely ridiculous one. Every day I'd see her and she'd have tan marks. This is this one, this one, this one. That it was like her arm would be a palette. So she worked on that for 3 or 6 months, and she actually came up with an incredibly good formula. I've smelled a lot of these things. It is by far the best smelling one. It's still going to smell a little bit because it is self tanner and there's some active ingredients, but it's by far the best smelling one. The packaging is nice. The product looks nice, but it's a huge swing because I can't help, right? I'm not going to be shipping. I can help networking and stuff, but I can't say to my 97.5% male audience, you guys look a little pasty out there. Time to up your tan game. I mean, I can, but
I mean, you're the perfect guy for it with the tank tops and stuff. You know, you just apply some on your shoulders, and I feel like it's a real smooth transition. You know,
but how many guys are buying self tanner units? I think if I went all in,
you should just apply it like one day, you know, and then someone will probably comment on like how good and tan you look. And then that'll be like a real easy segue into plugging it.
That's not how it goes down, Brad. I'll tell you right now. How it goes down is, what's up with Doug's stupid haircut and why can't he wear a shirt with sleeves? That's how the conversation's gonna go.
Are you gonna be like in the grocery store? Be like, or you know, whatever store. Like, hey guys, would you like to try a self tanner today?
That's gonna be me. That's gonna be my side hustle. I'm gonna have Wednesdays and Fridays at the lodge, Saturday mornings at the grocery store giving out free samples of self tanner. That's the dream.
I can see it. I can see it now.
So yeah, so we're gonna try and see how we can do on there's a couple different sides of the business, right? We'll probably do some ads through Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. By the way, I don't go on TikTok. I don't know about you guys, but I was looking at some of the ads on TikTok, and I guess I'm just too old. I think it's past me, because I'm looking at these and I'm just thinking, I don't know what's going on or what just happened, but I guess that was 7 seconds or something. I don't know. It just seems TikTok streets are not old people friendly.
Yeah, I go on there maybe once every 2 weeks or something. I haven't gotten into it like hardly at all. I get a kick out of it when I go on there. It feels like there's a lot of LOLs to be had when you go on there, but for some reason, it just hasn't really resonated with me.
What kind of LOLs are you getting on TikTok?
Like what kind of content or what?
Yeah, what's bringing out the LOLs?
I like the animal stuff. I like the cat and dog videos. And then I don't know, like there's so many people on there like doing creative things within like, you know, this short form 1 minute content. It's just, I think the algorithm is on point on TikTok. I don't know, but yeah, it's so overwhelming though. I mean, just like doing all this YouTube stuff, especially again, doing it yourself. It's like how far can you really spread your attention and your effort into all these different platforms?
I refuse to even download it. Once in a while, my mom will send me a cat video or a dog video. And by once in a while, I mean every single day.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, yep, that's a cat. That's a dog. Yep. There they are in all their glory. I mean, they're okay. Once in a while, there'll be some kind of weird animal video. Yeah, it's mainly animals now that you're talking. Oh, the other TikToks I see that are funny are the financial advice ones from people that clearly should not be giving financial advice.
Yeah.
You have some Valley girl and I think that Doge is going to $10 because Bitcoin is like 60,000. Think about that. And Doge is only 25 cents. So I see those, and those obviously get shared.
I remember some girl promoting cummies or whatever it is on, I think it started on TikTok. I think that took off. Is that what it was? Yeah.
That made it onto Bill Maher. I don't know if that was before or after, but Bill Maher covered the cum rocket. Cummies is the token name. Cum rocket is the chain, the blockchain, I think. I have no idea.
Glad you're on top of these things.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
You got to know your space.
It's crazy though. Like TikTok is a giant platform for poker that I am almost entirely like not familiar with at all. So there's these kids, Next Gen Poker, shout out to them. And they've kind of like really developed a strong YouTube following. And I think a lot of those people were channeled in from TikTok. I know that they've had a few videos that are just like super blown up. And yeah, I know nothing about TikTok though, other than that.
Is there much of a poker audience on TikTok?
I think there's a much bigger audience than we would naturally assume.
Well, so Brad, I want to talk about your growth on YouTube for a little bit here, because obviously it's been pretty impressive what you managed to do to build up what is really the largest following in poker YouTube. What kind of strategies do you think you use that really set you apart and managed to let you succeed at that scale?
That is a good question, and I figured I would get some kind of question like this, and I wasn't really sure what to say. I mean, I feel like a lot of it was really lucky. A lot of the timing stuff, a lot of the algorithm stuff, you have no control over. But a lot of it is just like really hard work and putting out consistent content. And I haven't really changed too much since the first episodes. Like the whole format of it has basically stayed the same. So I'm just glad that people seem to enjoy the poker hands, because that's what I focus on more than probably a lot of other, probably like Andrew and Jamin and some other guys in there that are really, really good with making things look nice. I'm not good at that. I'm more rough and just get into the poker.
Let me write that. Take a note quick. Doesn't want to reveal secret. Let me just write that down real quick.
No, I mean, it's kind of it's a question that I've gotten a lot, and just like I put in so much work, and I think that people think that there's some secret, like, oh, okay, well, you're using this title, you're capitalizing words, or you're putting in extra exclamation points on things. It's kind of like a little bit insulting that like that's the stuff that I spend about 3 to 5 minutes on. Coming up with the picture and the thumbnail title and stuff. And then I spend like 15 to 20 hours on an actual video, like making it, editing it, and all that. So
I think that packaging is probably around 50% of the importance of a video.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. 50%?
Well, the thing is, if your video has a terrible title and thumbnail, people aren't going to click it. They'll never know what's in there. And maybe once you build an audience, it switches, right? So like once you have a big audience, it's about the content, because if you lose them, when you have a regular viewer, they're not going to care as much about the thumbnail and title, or they're watching your stuff. But how did you get them? It had to be based around packaging. And I think
I don't think people are going to subscribe though. If you just do a good job at that, you do have to have content that's at least exciting enough for people to watch for a while and want to click that subscribe button.
I think you're naturally good at like coming. If it only takes you 3 to 5 minutes to come up with a title, I think you're like naturally good at that aspect of it. I think it is really important. Like maybe 40%. It's a pretty big number though. I think you're really good at that. But yeah, you've also been like really consistent. I think your consistency, I think, has been really key. I think keeping it the same format ever since you started was a really good thing. I think it's one of your strengths, where like you don't get distracted by all these different ideas, and you don't need to like.
There are some cat raps that have been thrown in there.
Yeah, I've been involved in 2 of those.
All 2 of them.
All 2 of them.
There is the cat raps, but you're not trying to like focus on online poker, and you're not trying to like do a bunch of live streaming, and you're not getting into PLO. You're not alienating parts of your audience and having them just click out and being like, I don't like this stuff. Like it seems like on YouTube, if you're specialized in something, in like a topic or something, then YouTube just rewards you for that. People know what they're getting into, and they stay because they clicked in for that. And when people stay, you get rewarded as a creator.
Also, I think that Andrew, I almost feel like you were referencing yourself there a little bit. Like you don't get into PLO, because I know you like to play PLO, right?
Yeah, I'm referencing myself. I like it's something that keeps me interested in what I'm doing, but I don't think it's great for YouTube.
What is your strategy been like, Andrew? Because when I think about you and I think about vlogging and the space, a lot of people, I've kind of attributed a lot of the rise of vlogs to you, and the OGs be like, actually it was Trooper. And okay, maybe Trooper came along before you did, but I think you were the first person to really kind of bring vlogging to the forefront on YouTube in a way that was really enjoyable for people. No offense to Trooper, but it took a specific sort of genre of fan to enjoy Trooper, compared to where I think your vlogs were a little easier to digest if you were not a poker player or you were a casual poker player, because I think that your take on on vlogging was a little more artistic, a little more thought out, a little more well done, and a little more polished than someone like Trooper. And I think that a lot of the rise of the poker vlogs, I would attribute to you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Trooper's strengths were also his consistency. He was cranking out videos like basically every day, like for years. And also he's just himself no matter what. Like he's unapologetically himself. So he's not going to go like chasing the trend either. You know, once poker vlogs kind of became a thing, he wasn't going to be like, okay, well now I'm going to do a bunch of poker hands in my videos. He's like, no, I'm not really into poker on that same sort of interest level. I'm just going to be me anyway. And so he was kind of like competing on a much more saturated landscape, which is closer to just like, you know, mainstream, whether it's like travel vlogs or just, you know, daily vlogs, lifestyle vlogs. And so he's like competing in the mass market. So it's kind of tough. It's definitely different, you know, like when I was watching his stuff occasionally, and I was also really into Casey Neistat at the time. There was this big hole in the poker market where it was like nobody's really walking people through a poker hand on YouTube with like Las Vegas as the backdrop. Did poker hands even start yet? I don't think so.
I don't know, but I did a lot of poker hands. I'm just saying, I've walked people through a couple of hands on YouTube.
Yes, you have. But yeah, like there's no like walking people through a poker hand the way that I was doing it, like with my fellow grinders, you know, on a daily basis, street by street. So I think
first person, right? First person hands, really.
Yeah. So I think when people had access to like, you know, the brain of daily grinder out there on the Las Vegas streets, that was pretty interesting to a bunch of people that play poker. And it turns out there is a bunch of those people that play poker on a very casual level that don't get to the table as often as they would like to. Whether that's, you know, for just time reasons, or they're more risk averse, but they still take an interest in it. So it turns out, there is a ton of those people, and they live the life through the poker vlogger.
There's something about the first person nature of these that I think is really, really the driving force behind them, because I think people want to imagine, what if this was me and I was here and I was going to play and this was the hand I had, and what would I do? And I think one of the reasons why we see, like, for example, a lot of the successful thumbnails are like pocket aces in the thumbnail, or like famous person in the thumbnail that you played poker with. I think a lot of the times those thumbnails are successful because they think, oh man, that could be me with all the money in there and I have aces, or that could be me at the table playing with Helmuth, or that could be me. I think there's something about the idea of them being the one at the table playing that I think really resonates with just a casual viewer.
There's for sure that aspect to it. Just like being, first person, like you said, like they're sitting at the table. The way that we've got the camera sitting right there, propped up against the chips, and they can see the whole cards and drag a pot right into the camera. It's like you're there. But then there's also, like, I think a lot of people that watch Brad, they genuinely are rooting for Brad. You know, it's not like they don't necessarily need to put themselves in the shoes of the creator when they're watching someone like Brad, or they're watching Brad. They're actually rooting for that person to do well, you know. And then they feel like when that person does well, then it's like, well, all the time that I've invested watching this person and this channel feels like time well spent. It's like you sort of, as a viewer, that viewer sort of like shares in the success of a good session, or things are going well over multiple years now watching the channel.
Yeah, Brad, what's it like to have your audience like you?
That's funny. But yeah, to expand upon Andrew's point, when I'm doing the vlogs, often I'll say we and us, like we're winning, and I want to make it feel like a team thing, you know, like we're all in it together. And then oftentimes when I'm going to lose, I just replace we with me and I just make it seem like I'm losing by myself.
You don't think they want to partake in the loss with you?
I don't think so. Yeah. I just feel bad bestowing the loss upon them, actually.
Well, but you're footing the bill, right? You're just putting some emotional devastation off on them.
Yeah.
Lighten the load. Yeah, so I'm actually going to start doing a weekly vlog. I actually recorded some action last week at the lodge.
Nice.
And
Big news.
I got the first thing that I just have to give credit where credit is due. I played PLO with Andrew a few months back, and he was vlogging the hands. And I didn't even think about that. And then I actually got out there and was trying to vlog some PLO hands, and holy shit, trying to fan the cards while you video it while you don't show your cards to anyone. That is a dangerous game. It's a very difficult game. You made it look easy.
Yeah, then you gotta make sure you get the board right. It's usually going multi-way, especially if it goes to like showdown at the end, and there's like 2 people showing down 4 cards each, trying to make sure you relay all that information to people. It's a lot.
What do you think about? So one thing that I kind of dislike when I'm trying to vlog in my I guess I did a little bit of vlogging just a couple times, a couple events along the way.
I'm gonna have to call you out a little bit because you were like real hard on us when we first started doing the vlogging stuff. You and Joey were not big fans of the vlog. The vlog
come
world.
a long way. Look where we are now.
Now
totally
partners.
Totally true. Absolutely true. I will. I mean, look, like the reality here is we all are biased in our own ways towards what we like and don't like. And I'm not really a fan of poker vlogs. I've said that the whole time. So I'm not trying to hate on anyone. It's just for me, I guess maybe as someone that has played high stakes or has played poker at a really high level, I just don't find it very interesting to watch someone go and play. Now that's not to say that people don't find it interesting. Obviously they do. The poker vlogs have done way better than I ever thought that they would do. And
I don't
clearly
think any
it's a
of
good
us
content type.
I don't think any of us are sitting around watching poker vlogs like regularly. A, that takes up so much time, and there's so many of them out there. And B, we're not the target market. Like the target market is what I was talking about before. It's like it's the audience mainly. I mean, there's other poker players that play a lot and watch them occasionally, but mainly it's people that don't play that much poker, and this is their window into it.
Yeah, true, but it's also one of those things. If you ever watch Shark Tank, some of the sharks will say like they don't invest in things they don't like or understand. And like that's with me with poker vlogs. Like I know that they're popular. I know if I did a poker vlog, and I know doing one will be great for the lodge. So I'm going to do one because I think it's a great content type to promote the lodge. But it's hard when you're like, I don't like this content. And another good example was the poker hand series I did explaining hands. I did so many of those. It's by far the most successful thing I've done on YouTube, or just in general, anything that I've done in terms of viewership. But I was never interested in the way that Jack should play the turn in this hand, right? But I knew the audience was. So I think it's tough as a creator when you reach this point where you're not into the kind of content that your audience is into. That's tough because you still have to have a job. Well, you don't have to have a job, but you still want to have your job. You still want to create. You still want to be able to build an audience, but then you end up doing things that your audience is less interested in because, frankly, the bigger your audience gets, the more casual they are. Period. That's just that's just the fact of life. The more people that watch, the more casual that they get. So for me, my biggest videos were reviewing someone playing pocket tens because that's something that everyone can kind of get behind is pocket tens. My biggest videos were not, I had my own cat rap equivalent where I flew to Pittsburgh for the AI versus Humans challenge. I did this video called Coach Doug where I did all these thought out scenes where it was acting and I was in a coach outfit and I got a pass from the casino and I brought Thomas out to film and we did all this stupid shit and it took me forever. I'm talking like actual scenes that we had sort of some script ideas we were going to go for. And I'm like pacing around trying to help the humans. I'm doing all these bits. And it took us a week or more to create that between planning, flying out. I flew out to a city, got a casino pass, did all the stuff at the casino. And then I'm just so proud of this. And it was just one of my worst videos. People didn't like, I mean, so I would actually phrase it a little bit differently. The audience that watched it loved it, right? Like the core fans, they loved it because they obviously know me and they know what we're doing on the channel, all that kind of stuff. But the average person was like, oh, this is stupid. And they left. That was the reality, right? So I feel like it's tough as a creator when your interests start to diverge from what your audience wants to see from you.
It is. Yeah. And, I mean, I personally, I sort of disregard what the audience wants a little bit more frequently than other creators do. And I just kind of like do what I want It's worked out okay for me. I don't know if it would work out as well for someone who's getting into it much later in the game. But yeah, I'm allowed to get away with it a little bit more so. But yeah, I put stuff in there that I like to do, and like make the kind of videos that I like to watch. And it's definitely a little bit detrimental to the retention level and thus the YouTube algorithm recommendation machine. But I would also probably have like stopped doing this if I was just if I completely disregarded that stuff. Whereas I mean, Brad, I think like you probably take like you take a lot of enjoyment out of like coming up with like bits like mid hand and stuff like that, and that's sort of your creative outlet. Whereas you're probably less interested in like flying the drone and like finding the perfect music track for this scene or whatever it is.
Yeah. So both of you guys, I really watched a lot along with Jason Somerville before I started doing the poker vlog stuff. And to kind of go back a little bit, Andrew definitely started, the whole poker vlog craze basically that exists today. So there's certain things that I kind of stay away from, almost as like a tribute to Andrew. So like I'll never do a drone shot just because that's Andrew's thing, and I want to have him at least have like that one thing that I'm not going to be doing, because we go to so many of the same stops and stuff. So it's nice to keep it somewhat original. I forget what else did you say, Andrew?
He's just thinking about drones, man. Drones are flying. He's like, not me.
I was talking about the music, and I was talking about how you insert bits mid hand.
Yeah, that stuff's really fun. Also, I just don't really like. I know what I'm not good at, and I'm not good at certain things that you're really good at, like making things look like super cool and stuff, and like transitions and all that, and like putting the right filters on things. Like I'm not, and I'm also like not super just interested in that. I wish I was better at it, but I'm not going to focus too much on trying to do that stuff.
Sure.
But I do really enjoy talking about poker hands still. Like I still really enjoy poker, and I want to be the best player that I can be. So we're doing the coaching stuff with Nick Petrangelo and with Upswing. So a little plug in there for that. And I don't know, I have poker goals, and I think that maybe they're even like kind of dumb. Like I still want to win like a bracelet at some point. I'd like to win some major tournament. And I do want to be playing like high stakes cash games. So I still like this, but I can see Andrew's just like so innovative, and he gets a little bit bored, I think, of doing one thing over and over again. And anytime he tries something new, he has to basically like develop that audience. Like you have to develop that PLO audience. So you're not just gonna start making PLO content and have the same kind of numbers that you were getting for your no limit stuff, like when you develop that audience for years.
What also matters is how many people can appreciate that. And the thing about PLO, one of the reasons I like PLO, I would say at this point I like playing PLO a lot more than I like playing No Limit, is that my brain gets to think in all these different ways that I don't get to think about in No Limit anymore, because I've just thought about the same things over and over again in No Limit for 12, 13, 14, how old am I? 15, 16 years. I'm thinking about the same exact thing, and my inside I'm thinking, I've done this for so long, this is such a grind. Whereas PLO, the situations are so unique, and there's so many different hands, there's so many different card removal effects, and there's so much going on. And so you get to kind of think about things in new ways that you haven't thought about before. And I feel like that's one of the reasons I like playing mixed games, and I like playing these other games a bit more, because I've not thought about these things so much. And that part is interesting to try and figure out new solutions. But you can make PLO vlogs until you're blue in the face, but those will always suffer compared to No Limit vlogs that are of similar quality. They're just going to suffer because the average person isn't hoping to log on and see ace, king, queen, jack. They're hoping to see ace, king, or aces, because they don't understand the other game. There's too much going on. It's just such a small audience comparatively.
Yeah, I think Andrew should get a lot of credit for just making me want to play PLO. Like I'm interested in it now, and I really wasn't before. And I feel like there's a lot of other people that are in the same boat. I mean, if you think of like just how many people watch Andrew's vlogs, even if it is a smaller number for the PLO stuff than it is for the no limit stuff. Like if you get like whatever 60,000 people to watch something, it's possible that 10,000 or more of those people have like never played a hand of PLO ever and are now interested in it. And if you can convert even like a couple hundred people to play PLO, that seems like a crazy achievement.
It's great for the game. I mean, Lord, how many people do you think Joe Ingram has turned on to PLO? Really, honestly, over the years, it's got to be an incredibly large number of people. what are we doing over here?
I mean, Joe's no longer with us, so.
Well, let's get this clear on the podcast. Joe is alive. He's just
he's in a better place.
No, maybe he's not online, so I guess yes. He's
by us, I mean the poker community. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but he seems probably. If I ever disappear, I'm probably like doing something that I'm really happy doing. Yeah. I imagine that's the case for Joey. And from
I ran into him. I put him at the end of my Christmas video because I ran into him here in Vegas, and he's really into the crypto, and he seems to be enjoying just learning about it, and just a different industry. I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities there. Like he's been looking after and diving deep into the poker industry streets for so many years now, over a decade. So it's like, again, it's just like so refreshing to step into something else and have your brain not focus on the same companies and what kind of shenanigans they're up to and what they're not doing well, and looking at some other opportunities. And I've obviously any sort of industry that you go to outside after poker, it's usually almost always going to be a much bigger industry with potentially much bigger opportunities. So I think he's just been enjoying all that whole process.
And that, Andrew, is a great time to move into our mid-roll. This podcast is presented by CoinFLEX. CoinFLEX is a crypto futures exchange which sees over $2 billion in daily trading volume. What the team has built on top of this powerful futures trading engine is a suite of innovative crypto yield products. CoinFLEX is committed to making crypto yield accessible to everyone, and a cornerstone of that strategy is flexUSD. FlexUSD is the world's first interest-earning stablecoin. Doing a great job in this ad read today. You can compound your interest 3 times a day, every 8 hours on-chain, meaning you can hold FlexUSD in a cold wallet and still earn interest. FlexUSD recently surpassed $360 million in market cap and has paid over $10 million in interest to holders in the last year alone. Creating FlexUSD is super simple and currently pays between 10 and 20% annually. I know this community can have mixed thoughts on cryptocurrency, but what we are talking about is 10 to 20% return annually on US dollars. No exposure to those nasty financial downturns in Bitcoin and Ethereum price. Just interest in a USD stablecoin automatically sent to your wallet 3 times a day. To learn more about FlexUSD, head on over now to www.flexusd.com. Legal disclaimer: none of the information contained here constitutes an offer to buy or sell any currency, product, or financial instrument, to make any investment, or to participate in any particular trading strategy. And I just briefly want to say here, guys, before we get back to this, FlexUSD is a stable coin, so it's not some shit coin that's going to go up and down. It's pegged to the dollar and it's backed by USDC. So every one FlexUSD equals 1 USDC, which is the world's essentially safest stable coin. Obviously, it's still a stable coin, but it is fully collateralized, and you're going to make 10 to 20% because markets, essentially, you can use crypto to borrow dollars, and the interest that gets paid to the site goes to you, not to the site. It's getting paid to the FlexUSD holders, at least a share of it is. And so that's how you make the money. It is 100% legitimate. And at some point here, I'm going to be putting a chunk into FlexUSD myself.
Right. Flexing on them.
Yeah.
Get flexing, people.
I'm just so tilted by all the people. Oh, it's a scam coin. It's like, guys, it's a stable coin. It's going to be worth $1. It can't even go up or down. It's just going to be worth $1. And then come on. Yeah, exactly.
Come on, right. Idiots.
Thanks, Andrew. I was in the middle and you're like, whew, 10 to 20%. Whew, it's hot.
Dang.
The whistle.
I was going to hop in there, but just let you do your thing.
It's all good. At this point, at some point, it would be nice if guests did stuff like that because it's funny, but I don't want to try and pressure guests into doing ad reads for companies that they're not associated with. Like, hey, can you come on my pod and plug some stuff for me?
And also read this.
Exactly. Brad, I want to go back and talk about your your comment that you made right before the break, where you talked about you still have poker goals, you still want to win a major tournament, you still want to play high stakes. So, how long have you been playing poker? Is this something that you've always felt? And what are your goals in poker?
I started playing poker when I was about 15. My dad was part of the company that would actually purchase kind of like rundown card rooms in California and renovate them and flip them. So yeah, that was around the same time that Moneymaker won the main event as well. And so growing up watching tournament poker, winning a bracelet was always like the coolest thing that could happen. So I'm still kind of interested in that, but once I started playing for a living, I realized like tournaments are kind of a silly thing to do, or at least in my mind as a cash game player. So it's like kind of just like a real superficial goal in my mind. But yeah.
Brad, I don't think I can let you. I can hear this kind of stuff here on the pod. Tournaments are amazing, and they should come on down to play the Monthly Monster at the Lodge, which is the world's largest monthly guaranteed live tournament. Tournaments are amazing. Someone's going to walk away with 6 figures, I believe. Come on down to the Lodge for the monthly tournament. Anyway, back to this. Cash games are better. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I will likely fire as many bullets as I can into that $600 monthly monster event. By the way, I'm pretty excited about that.
When Brad plays tournaments, he might start out all kind of patient, playing, letting the game come to him. When he happens to bust that first bullet, instant rebuy, snap rebuy,
yeah,
and
as many as he's allowed.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go to a rebuy tournament without plenty of bullets because I don't want the feeling. There's something psychological about being on your case money. Even in a cash game, let's say that it's a bigger cash game and I just didn't have enough cash. I only have 2 bullets and I bust the first. There's immediately a different feeling on the second bullet because now if you bust, you cannot continue to play. And it's hard psychologically, I think, to just totally dissociate yourself from results when you realize if you lose here, you're done. You actually can't continue to play.
The number of times that I've rebought into a live tournament is probably less than 5.
Same thing with me too. Online, I can't help myself though. If I'm playing online, it's just like, I don't have anything else to do this day. Let's go. Yeah. So when Andrew and I were we were in Cabo doing this GG thing, and I was in there. We kind of had like a budget for tournament buy-ins, and I was happy to go over that and just keep firing in like probably events that I shouldn't have been firing in. But luckily, the 5K, which was the main event, I kind of min cashed in on 1 bullet. So that was pretty cool.
If that happens in your higher stakes events, then it'll more than make up for it.
Yeah.
I just don't have it in me for some reason. When I go play a live tournament and I bust it, I'm just like done with it. I don't know. I'm sure it's a skill that like people have honed to not tilt or whatever course, but to be like, well, this is just the way it goes. I brought multiple bullets for this. Now we go rebuy. We're usually going to bust. So that's just the way it is. But like, I don't know, when I drive there and then it's like, shit just goes bad. And it's like, I just want to get out of here.
I agree. I agree. You kind of have to be a sick fuck to play tournaments for a living. I'm totally there with you, Andrew. Your words, of course.
But I remember you've said that, like, maybe you can correct me here, but you've said something like, I think you were saying most of your work should go into getting good at playing cash and grinding it out on a daily basis, and then taking shots into tournaments occasionally. And that's actually where most of your winnings in your poker career are going to come from, is playing tournaments.
I think I said something similar. I've definitely said stuff like that. I think that the number one most important thing is to really pick a format. And the thing about cash is if you get good at cash, you're going to naturally just be good at tournaments. So I think that that's the best way to make money. You're passing up a lot of free EV if you're not playing in some of these soft tournaments. Like the monthly monster at the Lodge, guys, look, no offense to people that play poker in Texas because I love all of them, but come on. It's going to be an absolute shit show. I've played in these games. There's a lot of hilarious stuff happening. I'm sure that tournament will be incredibly soft. It's going to be a great tournament.
I think the secret is not a secret these days on Texas poker.
I've had multiple Texas regs come up and say, hey, could you kind of keep it down a little?
Yeah.
I'm worried about all of the California people moving out here. Well, they're already coming.
Yeah, that's definitely we've heard that as well. We've heard that concern. They don't want to have the games become infested, as they say. But it's such a big market where I feel like it's a little bit durable. But yeah, I don't know. You have seen it happen over time in Los Angeles casinos as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the years. But I think for now, it's not really at risk.
Agreed. Andrew, what are some of your poker goals at this point?
I was just talking about this a little bit yesterday. Somebody asked me the same question, but yeah, I mean, I have pretty similar goals. Like I want to keep playing higher and higher stakes than the one I'm currently playing, and I do want to have a big tournament score, like a 6-figure tournament score at least. But on the same token, it's like sometimes these numbers, they just feel like kind of arbitrary, like when you move up to the next stake, it's like there's always going to be, well, maybe not always, but there's going to be a bigger stake than the one I'm playing. I'm probably not going to get to whatever Gila Liberté or whoever is playing these days. Those stakes, I'm probably not going to get there. But like, if I start playing 5100 kind of regularly, I feel like the novelty of that is going to wear off like relatively quickly compared to how high of a pedestal we put these games on. So I don't know. It's like, yeah, I want to play higher. I want to push myself. I want to have personal growth. And I think like in poker, stakes is how you measure that a lot of the time. So I want to, keep pushing myself and keep growing. But at the same time, it's like, well, maybe it's really not that big of a deal. So if it's not that, what is the goal in poker? And I don't know. I don't know if there's like a really great answer. Like I do want to check these boxes. Winning a bracelet would be awesome. Even though, it's like, even though that's like a brand, like that's a brand's creation. It's just like one of their marketing methods, to push their brand. It's still like genuinely held in high regard in the poker community, and it's what such a big percentage of the poker community strives for, is to grab that trophy. So yeah, I mean that's still on the desired list of things to do and accomplish. But like, yeah, over the years, I mean, it's evolved a little bit, and once getting into YouTube, and just, trying to find growth in that regard rather than like just on the tables, and now into the business side of things as well. That's going to take up, a bunch of effort. And of course, whenever you put effort into something, it takes it from something else. So I don't know, I go back and forth. Like I want to see growth, but at the same time, it's not like I won't feel like a failure if it's not achieving some arbitrary goal.
I think that what you're sort of honing in on a little bit is the constant struggle of people in poker that do content, between content and ability. And one of the things that I tell people when they're, especially for streamers, when they ask, how can I get good at poker? The first thing I tell them is stop streaming, learn to play poker. Because streaming or making poker content is a full-time gig, especially if you're going to do your own editing with especially vlogs, but just content on YouTube in general. And then with streaming, it's kind of a volume game. So it's all about building up your community. It takes a lot of time and effort. So you don't really have time to do both well, or to do both at an absolutely elite level. Mm-hmm. If you want to, you got to kind of pick your thing. It's almost kind of like before when we were talking about how to get good at a game, you should pick one format and really hone in on it. It's kind of like that, but with content versus playing well. If you want to play well, you have to really focus in on playing well, because that will take a lot of time and effort. And especially in today's day and age, unfortunately, the reality with No Limit Hold'em is it's no longer the kind of game where just being, cunning or being able to think critically or being able to come up with some reasonable solutions on the fly is going to work at a high level. It's just not. It's an hours game. It's a memorization game. It's a practical application game. It's about learning rule sets. It's about spending time on a solver. It's about looking at outputs, and it's about being able to implement that in real time into your game. That is not a process that you can wing. It's not. It's simply not. You can get some great guidelines. You can learn from players that are better than you, that know some of those rule sets, so you have some practical application right out of the gate. You can definitely get some of the keys that are necessary to start that process and have good framework. But the actual nitty gritty, if you want to play poker at a super high level, it's going to take a lot of time. There's just no way around that. And the reality is that it's going to get more and more like that as we go along, because the answers and solutions are going to become more readily available. The software will become stronger, and the bar is always raising in poker. That's so I think, like, kind of just to boil down what you're saying before a little bit is, obviously you're doing a lot of the content stuff, but then you're also trying to play poker well, and it's hard to kind of do both at the same time, right? That's sort of
it's very hard. Yeah. it's tough to find the energy to do everything and to be good at everything. Like, you can do everything. You don't necessarily have to be good at poker, and there's various levels of good. You can still play poker and do whatever else you're doing in life. But yeah, if you want to be good at poker, it takes so much energy. And so does vlogging. It takes a shitload of energy. So agree with everything you just said.
Doug, it seemed like you really got into tournaments like while you were doing the YouTube stuff. Is that accurate or no? Because I remember it seemed like you made like a very conscious decision to focus more on tournaments and winning a bracelet, and then you won that tag team and the one drop and then one other one.
Yeah, so I stopped really focusing on cash in like 2014-ish, 15-ish. And then I had a couple year run of playing a lot of tournaments before YouTube stuff. And then I started YouTube stuff in 2016.
Okay.
So there was a bit of a gap there where I focused a bit more on tournaments and playing before I got into the content game. But I was very fortunate in that I had already gotten so good at poker from the games I was playing beforehand, because they were just so hard to play all these high stakes heads up matches and really be thinking about poker at that level, that I could just cross over and do fine. And it's fortunate that I got good at that format. And I think one of the things heads up teaches you is how to fight for every hand, how to really think about your range, how to break things down in an analytical way, how to always be bluffing enough, all those kinds of concepts. And so I could just naturally go move over to tournaments and just be good. I don't think that I'm nearly as good anymore. Obviously I'm not, because I just haven't been working on it, haven't been thinking about the game. It would be a lot harder to do that transition, I think, today, at least in the higher stakes stuff. I got really, really lucky in tournaments just in my life. I've live, online, all that stuff. I mean, I have my online graph for tournaments. My big blind win rate is very good, even in higher stakes tournaments. But still, even if you're winning at a high clip in tournaments, the number of tournaments that I've won for the amount I've entered is it's completely absurd. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I'm good, but I don't think I'm anywhere near what my results have been like. I mean, how many WSB events have I played? Like 50, 60? I don't know. It's not that many. Maybe 100? I really don't think so. And I've won 3. It's ridiculous. One of the events I won was a 1,500 entrant field that played down to 9 on day 1. One day, 1,500
Wow.
to 9.
Which one is that one?
Is it a turbo or something?
It was a turbo, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a point where someone opened and I jammed 20 bigs with 10-9 suited, and I got 3 callers and they all had over pairs. And I just hit a flush and just everyone gave me all their chips. You have stuff like that happen. Oh man, Doug's. And by the way, this is a bigger picture, bigger rant about bracelets. It's stupid because stuff like that shouldn't matter, but it does.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It does. It does. When I won that 1K turbo, it was my first bracelet. People would message me, dude, congrats. I always knew you'd make it. Like, I knew you were a good player. There was all these people. It's like, guys, I went all in. At one point in that table, by the way, I don't think you can do this anymore. At one point in that tournament, I had a piece of paper out and I was just reading my open jam range every hand because I had 4 blinds. Ridiculous.
Mid-hand or before the hand?
Pre-hand, not in the hand. That'd be clearly cheating.
Yeah.
I think you can still do that. But
so
Maybe.
that's kind of the frustrating thing for me is that I mean, I have like 20K in live tournament winnings on my Hendon mob, and that's like the first thing people will Google, like, is Brad Owen a good poker player? And then Hendon mob will come up, and I have like 20K on there, and then the answer is like no. So, so having like tournament success is important for me, partially for that reason, even though I know that is dumb.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you see yourself putting more focus on tournaments then? Because I know a lot of your work lately has been more in the cash game front with Nick. So are you going to transition over to more tournaments? And how do you think that works in with all of your content that you're making? Are you able to do this vlogging content with tournaments, or is that more of a cash game thing?
Vlogging tournaments is is way more difficult. I mean, there's just like I've like misclicked and stuff vlogging tournaments, and that's caused me in a day 3 to bust out. Like
brutal.
I jammed like 15 big blinds, or I thought I did, from the small blind with like queen 10 suited. And it turned out that I had actually called an all-in from someone else who was like under the gun +1. So yeah, it's just way tougher. I mean, usually Andrew and I will have our cameras behind our chip stack, and in tournaments, you know, you just don't have as many chips. So it's a little bit tougher for that reason. Keeping track of other people's chip stacks, the levels, the blinds, all that stuff. And with more stress and more writing on like every individual decision makes it a lot tougher. So I have a lot of respect for people who do, you know, just kind of focus on vlogging tournaments. Like actually Sleeth, she just started, and that's kind of going to be her main focus. But yeah, I really enjoy cash games. I just have so much fun in the money or making a day 3 in a tournament. I don't think there's anything like quite like that. And I'll never have the opportunity to, or at least I haven't so far had the opportunity to win 6 figures in a cash game. But, you know, anytime you enter a tournament, or a lot of the time, there is that possibility.
Do you feel, Brad, like when you're vlogging and you're playing, do you feel like it's, I guess let me explain how I feel, and then just see if you feel like the same way. The few times I've tried to vlog, I feel like I'm not at the table anymore. I feel like I am now just vlogging this, trying to record hands, trying to write down what the action was, trying to take pictures, trying to think about like if my cards can be seen. I'm sure that stuff you get better at over time. And now, rather than being able to chit chat with the table and sort of have that I'm a part of the table vibe, I'm just sort of working, and I can't even really communicate with people that well because I'm focusing on trying to do what my thing now. I find that is tough to do at the table, and it takes away from the experience of playing live poker.
I agree with you. And Andrew and I, we struggle with that with the events that we do, because we're there to interact with everybody. But at the same time, people kind of understand, and they want to make the video, and they want the videos to be like as good as possible. So I think I probably spend a little bit more time writing down details than Andrew does, just because I'm writing down like stack depths and different things. And it does take away from that. And that's something that I try to be cognizant of, and try not to let it detract too much from the table talk and just having fun with everybody.
I've seen the occasional comment where someone's like, I mean, it's pretty occasional, but I have seen it where it's like, man, Brad was on his phone the whole time during this meetup game. I'm like, well, he's actually like doing his whole vlogging thing, you know, like it actually takes a ton of work here. So no, he was not just like hanging out on his phone in the middle of a meetup game.
Well, yeah, but we also do have to like tweet and do a bunch of Instagram stuff during those things,
a little bit,
which is like a whole other added responsibility.
And I want to give you both credit. I don't think I said this earlier, but it amazes me how much work you guys have done and effort you've put in over the last 4 or 5 years to build what you guys have built. And the fact that you've done it really single-handedly, each one of you've put the hours in yourself. That's incredible. I feel like I've worked so hard, and I have all these people doing a lot of the stuff for me, and I still feel like I'm always stretched thin and barely have the time. The fact that you guys have put that personal touch in and put that effort to make it to where you are today, that's really impressive.
Thanks, Doug.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean,
now that said, when are you going to hire some people, guys?
Yeah. I actually have begun a search for an editor, and have some pretty promising leads here. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a change in the workflow on my end, at least, and hopefully be able to crank out a little bit higher volume of videos. Is the hope? Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I was teaching my brother how to do some of the edit work while I was home for Christmas. So hopefully he can help me out. I bought him a computer and stuff, and looking forward to delegating, you know, some of the more tedious tasks.
I mean, I don't know if you guys, I think you saw Brad, but Rampage shared how much he earned on his poker YouTube channel the other day. He made a video about that, posted his earnings for the year. And I think that might like encourage some people to hop into the streets there and give this thing a try.
What was the number?
180K, I think, just off of YouTube revenue.
Pretty sick.
So yeah, he's got it figured out because he got the editor on his end going and has been cranking these vids out 3 times a week. And to do that without an editor is just impossible. You know, if you want to make like good videos, it's just impossible. If you're going to go out and play sessions and then come back and edit these things, if you want to get that volume, you have to find an editor. And so he's definitely got the formula down, and it's showed on his channel results for sure.
That's great that the revenue is up so much now, because it was not like that 4 or 5 years ago. It was way lower. I think I've done something like 250 to 300K revenue lifetime on YouTube. And I think I've done like 110 million views or something, 120 million views, whatever it is. And I've only done 250 to 300K in revenue. It's extremely low. I've definitely paid my staff a lot more than that over that time. So I'm losing money on YouTube directly. Not anymore, partly because we're sponsored by CoinFLEX. Thank you, CoinFLEX. And then also because the revenue is a bit higher. And then also, I mean, obviously I've made money because I built my brand, I promoted my businesses, all those kinds of things. But before, I think the really shitty thing was you could have a pretty popular channel and you financially just couldn't make it work. Like I had some years I made, you know, I probably did 20, 30 million views and made 70K, 80K. Who are you going to hire on that, right? You have to basically have outside ways that you're making money beforehand. And it's good to see that YouTube has made it better for the creators, because without the creators, there's no YouTube. You have to have people making this content. Otherwise it doesn't exist. So good to hear that.
Were you doing mid-roll ads when you were making 70K that year? Do you know? Or like ads at the end?
I was only doing ads at the start. And I also think that the options, there was less options then. They've really developed the ad platform over the last few years. So it was a little bit different. Also, I love that YouTube did this thing where they snuck in. Now there's 2 ads at the start of videos. They really just snuck that in there. Oh, now there's 2.
Yeah, I wonder where this is going to end. I mean, is this the maximum, or is this? So
I bought like a YouTube premium subscription or whatever, so I don't see ads, and that's by far been like the best $11 investment every month that I've ever spent. You just spend so much time watching ads if you don't have that. And it's crazy, you know, like if your hourly is whatever, like let's say it's for you, Doug, let's say you're making $1,000 an hour on your stuff. I mean, I have no idea what it is. But let's say someone makes $100 an hour, and you know, all it takes is whatever. If you can save yourself 6 minutes from not watching YouTube ads, then it's worth it for yourself.
I wish they had it so you could just pay for the YouTube premium out of your YouTube revenue rather than have to sign up with a credit card.
Is that what's stopping you?
Why does it matter?
It's just the step of adding that recurring payment onto your credit card rather than just like minus the $11 a month.
But there's so much more
seamless,
though.
It's so much more seamless.
Yeah, the AdSense revenue is just completely different.
Also, if you're on Google Chrome, you can get the plugin to see the dislikes, which I have done. I don't know if you guys. I don't
want to install that.
You don't? No, for like viewing stuff though. It's just really nice and helpful to know if what you're watching is kind of crap, and so you don't have to invest like a ton of time if you see right away that the like to dislike ratio is not good.
What did you guys think about that change to remove the dislike button?
I think it's not good for Andrew and I. Since we've had the audiences for years now, and people are like, a lot of them will just like no matter what, which is cool. And so I think that benefits us to have the like to dislike ratio out there.
Yeah, I think I agree. I saw you talking about this, Brad, on Twitter, I think. But when you remove the dislike button and you're trying to like look up how to do something, it's a great way to just immediately know whether the video is going to be helpful or not. If you can just look at the ratio.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So seems like generally, I mean, I know what they're going for. It's like, it could be pretty tilting when you put so much effort into a video and you get people shitting on it, you know? And it's like, if it can be pretty demotivating sometimes. So I get what they're going for, but yeah, I don't think it's a great change.
Yeah.
To play.
You're still going to get negative comments too, which are, in my opinion, the things that like are the most scarring. You know, there aren't too many videos where I've been like, oh man, there's so many dislikes on there. But there's been a handful of times where I've seen a comment. I'm like, wow, that kind of hurts.
Knifed you.
I think that YouTube doesn't care if your experience is that good. They just care that you're there. And they don't care if you like or dislike the content. They just care that you watch. So I think that YouTube isn't like, oh, Brad watched this. Brad clicked on a video how to fix my washing machine. I hope he gets to fix his washing machine. Don't give two fucks. They're like, did Brad watch this whole video? And if you can easily see that the washing machine doesn't get fixed, that might be bad for them. It's bad. They want you to have to find out. Better for them.
Well,
more time spent on YouTube.
do you think that's more the motivation rather than making sure people aren't discouraged from making content?
I think that it comes down to bottom line and stats and how long people are on your platform. And I think when big companies try to make it about ethical things or protecting people or it's just protecting their own ass and it's making more money. Really?
Yeah.
Because, yeah. Good.
I usually agree. I'm with you on that for sure. I'm just thinking like, you know, they're battling TikTok basically is what they're up to. And so they want to make sure people are utilizing their platform, and without the creators, they don't have a platform. But I don't know. I mean, you might be right here.
Maybe they're protecting people, but it just seems like, let me give you a couple other reasons why I think it's like this. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like protecting people. I just think like encouraging people to keep posting as much. I mean, basically like YouTube is like, it's real estate for billboards essentially. It's like the more real estate that people are creating, which is content, then the more billboards that they can put up. So they need to have people generating as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I could see that. Maybe it's a combination of everything. I feel like people should get to have negative feedback, and I know it's not great, and I've definitely felt the wrath of this as a creator when you put something out and you feel like you get very unfair feedback. But that's the world, and sometimes people don't like stuff, and sometimes it's good to see negative feedback. This is a really tough thing that I'm actually interested in how you guys deal with this. Maybe it's not quite the same because you guys again have audiences that really like you, but I feel it's kind of a joke. But basically I think that as a creator, you need to find this really fine line where you're in tune enough with your audience where you know what they like and don't like, and you understand their feedback, but you also don't take things to heart and you don't get too obsessed with trying to read every comment and trying to see what everyone has to say, because you don't want to be oblivious to what's going on, but you don't want to become obsessed with reading what people have to say about you. And how do you guys strike that balance between those two things? Because I think that's a really, really tough thing to deal with.
When I started making videos, I made it a point to reply to literally every single comment on the videos. Just wanted to make sure people knew that I was actually there. I was engaged. I was doing all this myself. And this was like an interactive thing if people wanted to make it so. And plus it was probably good for engagement too. But yeah, now I've definitely strayed away from that. I read a lot of it still. I go through spurts, I guess. I go through waves where sometimes I'll just like post a video and that's it. I don't read it. And it's sort of like, you know, who's like the best at this is Joe Rogan. Like he talks a lot about this. Like he'll post stuff on YouTube or like other social media sometimes, and he literally will not read a single thing that anyone replies with. Won't read a comment, won't read the replies, none of that stuff. And he seems to have done pretty well with that methodology. So I don't know. It's impossible for me to do that because I want to. It's like you said, like you want to. There's like some feedback. There's things to glean from it. You know, like what's resonating with people more so than other stuff. So there's stuff to be learned from it. But a lot of the time in the YouTube comments, it's super polarizing. You know, it's like a lot of your biggest supporters in there and then trolls. So sometimes it's like, how much value is there? So I kind of go back and forth with it all. And I don't know if I've ever found like the perfect methodology for all this stuff. I think as a creator, you know, when you put in this much effort, you definitely become a little bit susceptible to that. You know, obviously you want the content to do well. You want people to enjoy it. So you want to like kind of check in to make sure like people are digging it. But then you're eventually going to stumble across someone like Brad said, like, who knifes you real good in the comments. You're like, God damn it, why am I reading these comments?
Yeah.
What about you, Brad?
Yeah, Andrew and I we're pretty fortunate where it's like overwhelmingly pretty positive, and so that's nice. And so usually when I post a video, I'll look for the first day and a half and kind of see what people enjoyed about the video, see what the top comments are. I like to insert little jokes. They're kind of silly and stuff, and it's fun for me if the audience like catches those and enjoys them and stuff. So so I just take a look, and then sometimes like I'll get like a little bit emotionally charged about like a comment that's negative, and then when that happens, I try to just not go back on there again and look back at that. But sometimes I do defend myself in the comments section a little bit, probably more than I should.
Sometimes I enjoy the troll battles. Sometimes I
Right.
re-troll people. If someone's like obviously trolling me, I'm in there. I'm happy to troll right back. I can't help myself. So not sure it's the healthiest thing out there, but I get in there sometimes.
I think if you can not be reactive to something negative and then go back and write something funny, that's like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely the best play.
About it for like an hour or forget about it. Hopefully, I mean, either way, whether you forget about it or you're not upset about it anymore, and you just think of like the perfect thing to say, it's fun.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I had a day like that when Bryn Kenny was coming after me, and I was responding on Twitter, and I was just dying laughing as I was responding to him because it was just so fucking funny. Those are the good ones. I think.
Yeah. Are you referring to the heads up match for charity thing?
It was Better Existence, $1 million Better Existence.
Okay.
If you're not interested, then I'll do 2 million. That was that series of tweets. It's tough. It's tough to strike that balance. And I think for me, if someone just insults me, I don't care. It's when people say things that are not true, and I get kind of tilted. Like Doug said this, and they did that, and I'm like, no, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Those are the ones where I feel like I should just be like, fuck that guy. But what I worry about is someone sees that, and then they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize Doug did that, and they use that as their info source, right? Someone makes a comment, the X thing happened, it didn't. So those I feel like I need to try and clarify. But then I'm like, why am I clarifying this dude in the comments? Like, okay, if 20 guys now think this, do I care?
Right.
But what if that happens 100 times? Now I probably care.
What about when somebody uses some misleading editing about you?
Now that I'm 100% okay with. Misleading editing is strongly encouraged here. And by the way, I was thinking about this the other day. So obviously I had a Blazarian podcast recently where we talked about my editing. And even the thing that I said sorry for, I watched it back and it shows it in its entirety beforehand and then cuts as a joke. And so maybe it's still over the line to cut it as a joke saying that, but I feel like it is clearly humor in that instance. And one thing that I find is if you do something in a humorous way and then you talk with the person, that wasn't funny. It's like, well, yeah, it was about you. And so I think in that instance, it was maybe still a little too far, but it was pretty, if you watch that clip back, it's pretty clearly in humor. I don't know. It's tough sometimes to find where the line is exactly. No follow-up to that. Everyone's like, yeah, that one, we're going to just let that one go. I'm not getting involved in that.
Pretty much.
Wise moves, guys. Wise moves. Let's talk about the upcoming vloggers, because one thing I've had happen to me a lot in Texas and even a couple other places, someone talks about a vlogger and I don't know who they are. And they say, no, it's this guy. And I still don't know who they are. I've heard of Rampage several times now. I also know he's Asian because someone said you should have called Greg Goes All In Rampage as a joke. I remember seeing that in the comment section somewhere. Other than that, I really don't know who the vloggers are today that are up and coming. Who are some of the guys that you think are up and coming vloggers? You like their style. Maybe you want to give a shout out to someone that you think is doing a cool job on YouTube. Who are some of the vlogs you think are doing the best job today?
Well, we kind of mentioned a couple earlier. Those next gen guys, they're just like young college kids, and I just think they have a really bright future. They seem to really be enjoying kind of like the business aspect and like marketing aspect of their channel. They have this TikTok thing that they're crushing. They had these shorts on YouTube that were getting a lot of views for them. Like they have like 60 million views now. And I think largely in part from those YouTube shorts. So that's pretty incredible to have that. And I think Ashley Sleeth, Jesse Sylvia's, I think, fiance, I think they've been engaged for a while. I'm not sure if they're married yet or not, but yeah, she's like I think she's going to have a really big YouTube channel as well. And Rampage, he's just crushing it. Like putting out 3 videos a week, even if you have an editor, that's really tough. And putting in that kind of volume, eventually he'll probably have the #1 poker channel on YouTube, I imagine.
Wow, impressive. Yeah, that's really impressive. To put out 3 vlogs a week, that's a lot. That's a full workload. Who are some of the people that you like, Andrew?
Shout out to Jamin Burton. I've always liked his stuff just because, he's not just focusing on the poker hands. He's injecting some creativity in there, or a lot of creativity along the way as well. Like he does this animation thing that's really cool. And you can tell he's like really selective about the music too. So it's stuff that like resonates more with my tastes, my interests. So shout out to Jamin Burton. It's interesting though. It's like you see a lot of people kind of like come and go. They give it a shot and then they realize like how much work this is. And then they kind of like maybe trail off. We saw this, we did this promotion with Poker Stars. We did this vlogger in paradise thing, they called it, where they gave away platinum pass to the Bahamas. There was like somewhere around like 200 submissions originally. It was like make 5 videos with like different themes that we provided, and saw like 200 people make the first video, and then like 150 people make the second video or whatever, and it just kind of like trails off when people realize just how much work goes into editing. So you see that a lot in the YouTube landscape, and then to come later into the game, it's tough too because people only have so much time and that they can devote to watching poker vlogs. Although it seems like a lot.
I actually disagree with that because I think the more people that watch, the better it is for everyone. Because it doesn't mean that they're all the same viewers watching the same things. It just means there's more people to potentially watch your stuff. I think a rising tide lifts all boats here.
Yeah, it's definitely less competitive than like Twitch is, for sure. But to get started, it's tough to it's tough to build the audience because it takes you're putting in so much effort for so little return. You're not making any money, and you have to like start from zero. But it's such a passionate audience. Like people just cannot get enough. They cannot consume enough poker hands. They just never tire of it, and so if you do stay with it, if you do stay consistent with it, then you'll probably see some pretty good growth here. But yeah, it's tough to just like get out of the gate and start with it. And that's on top of like the awkwardness of like talking into a camera, and doing all that stuff. That's just like super not natural.
How do you guys feel about, oh, sorry, go ahead, Brad.
Some of that stuff is like pretty fun to look back on, like the first vlogs when you are getting the hang of it and really have no idea what you're doing, and the stuff like the creative decisions. I mean, you set the bar so high, Andrew, with your stuff that maybe you don't really feel like that as much. But when I look back at like the first 2 minutes like that I put on YouTube, like it's fun for me that's like the one thing that's like fun for me to look back on.
Yeah, it's super cringe for multiple reasons. Like
so cringe.
The content, like the quality and like the way you're talking to the camera, like you're trying to emulate something else that you saw. Like you're trying to do something that you feel is like what you're supposed to do, and it's just like it's not yourself. It's not natural. And then also, hopefully, you've developed as a poker player over the years. So like you're watching yourself talk about these poker hands. At least for I assume for Brad and I, looking back on the hands that we were sharing, is like, oh, definitely wouldn't have done that in that spot. Definitely wouldn't have done that. I'm like trying to justify it in the video, like, or at least talk about like what I did and why. And it's like, oh man, yeah, definitely wouldn't do that today.
I feel the reverse on that. I've gotten so much worse over the years that like I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Oh yeah, I'm right about that one, or wrong, or just something I wouldn't have thought about. I've been decaying over time because I've just not been working on my game really. I'm so embarrassed about some of my earlier work when I look back. I don't know what it was, but when you're 100% right. It wasn't me. I wasn't myself. I was, hi, what's up, guys? Doug Polk here. We're going to be doing, and why am I talking like that? It doesn't make sense. That's not how I talk. I look back, it's like I'm doing some kind of rehearsed bit where I'm now YouTube Doug and I am talking like how YouTube Doug. I don't talk like that. I don't understand. It's weird. You get more natural over time. You start to become kind of more like you are in real life, but just on camera.
Yeah. You find your own voice. You don't have to like replicate somebody else. You're just being yourself.
But it's cool now to be kind of at this point as part owners of this card room in Texas, where we can kind of cultivate this culture of like content creators and stuff. And poker vloggers, sometimes it's hard. Like you look at them as like competition a little bit, or it's like impossible not to, I think. So to be, owning this card room and like having vloggers like benefit us from coming out there and doing the marketing is it's kind of interesting to be on this side of things now. And so very much just like super rooting for people to do well and then to maybe form partnerships with them down the line or whatever.
I always felt like that on Twitch. I felt like, because Twitch is just a competition, and Twitch will tell you it's not. They're lying to you. Every view over someone else while you stream is bad for you. They're moving up in the directory. You're moving down. It is a direct. They're taking from you, and if they get to the 1 slot and you're the number 2 slot, you're going to hurt because of that. Because new people, when they come in, they click the biggest stream, and they can try and dress it up and whatever, but it's still a pig. You can dress it up however you want, whatever that saying is. Probably that sounds like a Texas-y saying, the dress them up like a pig thing. I forgot what it was.
Lipstick on a pig.
Lipstick on a pig. There you go. Perfect. But on YouTube, I've never really felt like that. I've always kind of been happy when big YouTube channels come along at poker, because I would think, oh, sweet, these are new people that will watch my videos that I couldn't reach otherwise. Like when Negrano started building his channel before, even when me and him were feuding, I'm like, this is awesome. Now I have all these Negrano videos, and then I'll put his face on a thumbnail, and they're going to say, oh, Negrano, I'll go watch this video. Oh, it's Doug. That happened to a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a,
yeah.
I've always felt like it's a positive on YouTube.
I think that it's for sure positive. You just can't help it when people, it's not even like the content creators so much. It's more just the audience. They always say, oh, you're my 3rd favorite vlogger. Whatever. Like they do that. And then,
you know what you should say, Brad? Sorry, it's just for you should say, well, you're my 86,000th favorite fan.
Yeah. I mean, you can't help but like, they impose like these things on you. And so it's weird in that regard. And then with like the Global Poker Awards and stuff, like that's something that I don't want to lose, but I don't really like, it's weird to win, and it's weird to like lobby for yourself for that kind of a thing and stuff. So I don't know.
The Global Poker Awards is complete fucking bullshit. And I've been outspoken on this the whole time. They invited me to come out this year. Showers. It's complete fucking bullshit. I spent 2 or 3 years at the absolute top of doing content in poker. I won 0 awards. I didn't even get nominated some of those years where I won the one drop and vlogged a bunch of it. I did all these things. I had definitely the most viewership. I had the biggest rising channel. I had all these things, right? Didn't even get nominated because I wasn't friends with people. When you see that, you know that this process is a complete fucking scam. And it doesn't mean anything. What you want to be friends with people? What that show is, who's friends with the people that are in the in crowd that are cool. And if you win, it's because you're more friends with them. And if you don't, you're not. I saw so many nomination lists where they would have somebody on the list for like vlog or stream that didn't even stream that year. I saw the streamer of the year, this guy who didn't stream. Oh wow, he did such a great job. You know what I'm saying? Like it simply doesn't actually correlate to actual achievement. And it's just like a who's cool club with the cool kids. It's really all it is. So who cares if you win or lose?
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's a weird thing. But I know that they are Eric Danny, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who runs Global Poker Awards. He's done a much better job to try and make it a better award show and to make it more meaningful. And I know that he's put in like a lot of effort to do that. So it's tough I think it's trending in the right direction.
I mean, it's so subjective, like when you're saying like who's the best in whatever category, it's like what are the criteria we're picking from, and how do you decide who's the best in this thing? It's like the point of these award shows are just to have an industry event that sort of like spotlights itself, and then to generate PR releases and things like that. I mean, it's fun for people to go to. It makes for like a fun event, and it's nice to like shine the spotlight on people, but does it really matter? Not really.
I mean,
Says
dude,
a guy who's won 4 Global Poker Awards, who's number one in the all-time Global Poker Award list, I think.
I have won 0. I've been nominated, I believe, once. I had the biggest cash in Twitch history, nothing. I streamed all year, 1 year, not even nominated. There were people on the list that didn't stream. I had the most views on YouTube for poker 3 years running. I had by far the most popular videos. I don't know, what more do you want from me? What more can I do here, guys, to build something? And then not even nominated. And it was because I had a feud with Negrano. It's just bullshit. It's honestly, sorry, Andrew, I didn't even know you'd won any. My bad. I've not been tuned into them. Actually,
I think I think they're great. I think they're the best. I think they're the only thing that matters in poker, to be honest with you.
You know what they should do? I was talking about this with Thomas. You know what we should do? We should do real poker awards, the actual poker awards.
Yeah, Brad and I thought about doing something like that. Maybe like, I don't know if it just be like for the vlogger category or on a bigger scale.
I think we probably should do it on like a vlogger streamer award show of our own,
creators.
Because there's so many categories you could have like within that, like funniest moment, like best hand, whatever, a handful of things, like most creative, I don't know, all kinds of awards within streaming and vlogging. But there was one other thing that I was going to say, but I forget now.
Do you know a place that we could host this award show?
Oh, Joe Ingram wanted to do this. That's what I wanted to say. I don't know. I mean, we could maybe on your podcast.
Oh, I was talking about the lodge. It was just I was going to just shamelessly plug.
Come on.
Oh, Brad. Yeah, of course. The lodge that last week of January. Am I going to be in that 50 or the 100, 200 lineup?
The seat's open if you want it. We already have overfill, but I left a spot in there if you want to play.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool, especially for the opening of, or not the opening, but the basically grand announcement that we're partnering up with them.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, the last week of January, which by the way is shockingly close. We're about 2 weeks away from getting this thing going. I think maybe even under 2 weeks away from getting this thing going.
I got to book my flights.
You should book your flights. Yeah. You guys should book your stuff. We have a full week of festivities coming up at the lodge. Tons of people are coming out. It's going to be a blast. Every single day we have stuff planned. We're going to have streams going either every day or all but one day. I forget how many streams we got. I'm not going to go into the full play-by-play here, but there will be a high-stakes game on Saturday that myself and I guess Brad are going to be playing in. It's going to be 100, 200, no limit, 20K minimum buy-in. So it'll be good. We already have plenty of people that want to play it, so should be a full table. And I think we're going to get the game going off stream for some time beforehand, and then we'll have an official lineup at 8. So you can either play before or just on the stream. Whatever you want to do is good. But should be a fun game. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be, probably by far the biggest game I've ever played.
Nice. It's good. Good to push those milestones.
Good for you.
Dude, honestly, I feel a little bit bad now. I almost feel embarrassed because people talk about how good of a poker player I am, and then I realize like I'm just straddling away and just opening whatevs, just 3-betting random crap, and then just like choosing a size and clicking a button and just doing some stuff. And like, man, well, Doug, you're really good. It's like, yeah, this isn't 2017 anymore, 2015 anymore. Obviously I'm still okay, but I've never been a rings expert. I've never been a 6-max cash game expert. It's not my background. It's been heads up and tournaments have really been my main forte. And I am just so sputastic nowadays that it's just, I don't know.
One thing that Nick has kind of emphasized with me a little bit is like, you can't really make too many big mistakes pre-flop. There's a lot of like mixing 3-bets and calling and stuff. So as long as you're not making like crazy mistakes, like on the river and stuff, which I imagine you're not, then should be good.
River. I'm gonna play relatively good. I mean, river's usually the easiest street to play though, right? So, but like a lot of these close-ish pre-flop decisions where it's mixed between whatever, in isolation they're not bad. But if you're always taking the loose action, the net result of your strategy can get really bad. So. And then you have to play disciplined and tight. And that's why I just prefer the PLO. I don't have to think about it. Oh, look, 4 cards. You just raise some stuff up. Stuff comes out. You hit pairs. It's great. No, it'll be an awesome game, though. It's going to be a really good game. I think this is going to be the highest stakes ever streamed game in Texas, right? I think so.
Wow.
Has 100, 200 ever been streamed before?
I'm not aware of of a stream that big in Texas. But I know the Texas Card House has gotten some really big streams in Dallas. They've had like 100K pots and stuff, I think.
There's a weird thing in Texas where people don't want to play big blind sounding things, but they want to go play smaller, and then everyone straddles all the time. So like, for example,
buy an incredibly deep.
Buy an incredibly deep. I was talking to a regular here I've talked with a bit named E. E plays on the Lodge stream a bunch. And I was asking him his thoughts on the game, because I'm going to do every week at the Lodge, I'm going to have a high stakes game going. And I said, how should we start this off? What stakes and stuff? And he said, I really think you should start this at 5, 5, 10, see how it goes. But you can get 5, 5, 10, and then just get someone mandatory, do rounds of mandatory straddling to 20 pretty easily. But if you start to say 10, 20, 25, 50, people get kind of scared and they don't want to play in those kinds of games. That is such a Texas specific thing. It is not like that in other places. Yeah. It's very unique.
Maybe LA is a little bit like that. I don't know.
I wonder if like big private games are kind of like that, because it seems like they'll start a game and then they'll kind of like be some pressure to up the stakes or put a mandatory straddle on after the game starts.
I could say that. Have you guys played much in private games? I've not played basically at all.
I usually try to avoid them.
Same.
To be honest.
Yeah, it seems like a risk.
I haven't really played too much. I played a little bit in LA, but it's been years ago now, so not really.
Yeah, there's so many things where it can go badly in a live game.
Yeah.
So many things. The rake can be incredibly huge. There can be collusion. There can be cheating. It could get robbed. People could not pay their debt. There's just so many ways things can go badly in live games. I've always kind of avoided, or private games, I should say. I've always kind of avoided them.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty high risk, high reward, it seems like, just because they're generally the best games. So if you do happen to find one that's on the up and up, then it seems like that's a pretty sweet spot. Just especially compared to like the landscape in Vegas, you know, there's just not really that many big games going anymore. The ladder is pretty short.
What's it been like in Vegas since COVID happened? I've not even been to Vegas in almost a year now. What's the temperature like in Vegas for poker?
Some of the smaller rooms like really benefited from COVID. You know, they opened up a little bit sooner maybe than some of the other rooms, and so they got slightly bigger crowd, I guess, coming in, and a lot of rooms shut down too, so it's more concentrated, I'd say. But like the big rooms are all doing well. Bellagio, you know, they might have like 3 to 5 5-10s like any given night. There's usually like a 10-20 game, and then they have a private like 50, 100, sometimes it's up to 200, 400 game that runs in Bobby's room a couple times a week.
You mean an illegal private game at a public casino?
They've figured out a way to make it like fully above board. You know, I think that there was some, Andrew, you may know more than I do, but I think they said that because high rollers can like have their own blackjack tables without allowing like other people to sit down, somehow they've carried that over to the poker room. And they said like if certain high rollers want to play like certain games, then they don't have to be open to the public necessarily. I don't know if that's exactly right.
I don't really know. I haven't heard that. I find it like it seems pretty weird to me that, you know, for so long it seemed like private games were not a thing, and then now they are. Like I don't really get like what's changed, or if they've officially really challenged it.
I don't think there's been any legal challenge for private games at public occasions. I can say that you are not supposed to have private games at public locations. And I used to go try and play in some of those games, and just the amount of nonsense that I had to deal with, like get on the wait list, show up, be there, and then Fish shows up, make an extra seat come out, and that jumps to the list. So he jumps the list in the game into me, and then someone leaves, take the seat away. Now it's that to game, and then they all break at the same time. That happened to me a bunch of times when I was trying to play in those games, and I just didn't want to, you know, deal with that process.
Somehow they like rent out the table, I think for $400 an hour.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in Bobby's room, and somehow I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah,
interesting. What were some of the earlier you guys were talking about vlogs and using sort of vlogs and getting vloggers out to the room, maybe some collaboration type things that we could do with vloggers to help promote the lodge.
You're asking how do you
Well,
motivate
I was
them to
asking
get
you,
there?
sorry, I forgot which one of you guys said this. I just took a note down on it, but we were talking about vloggers and how that can be a great avenue to help promote the lodge. And I was wondering if you had any kind of specifics in mind, or do you guys just see that happening sort of organically?
Yeah, I think both. I mean, I think trying to encourage people that have put in a lot of work over the years to come do their thing at our spot, and especially if we look to expand this thing, because we can only be at so many places so many times. So I think encouraging those guys to come do their thing at our spot or spots would be great. But I also think it'll happen organically too. When people see that like these guys have created a career out of the content creation thing, I should be able to maybe go and partake in that, and they probably won't have an issue with that. I personally wouldn't have an issue with that. It would be kind of weird if I did, I think. So yeah, I think there'll be some level of that happening organic as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think that Andrew and I both tried to make casinos look good our whole YouTube career. Otherwise, I think we both realized like we'd get shut down like pretty soon, or at least that was a thought that I had when I was first starting out. And I think that we've really like benefited certain places like Bellagio, and we've really not had any types of deals with them. But there's people that will show up and ask for either Andrew or me, just, like out of nowhere to the floor or whatever, and ask if we've been there and things like that. So I think it's helped out these casinos a lot. And I think that if anybody came out to the lodge who was like trying to make content, I think it would help us out a lot. And I'm always kind of happy to do like one shout out at least for somebody who's up and coming. I just say like, if I happen to run into them, I say, oh, check out Lexo's poker vlog or whatever, or like whoever it may be, poker face Ash, and various people I've given shout outs to.
That's kind.
Lynn's out there. She's out there doing her thing. She comes to Texas sometimes, so hopefully she'll swing by. But yeah, I think the value of the poker vlog is sort of been proven and decided. It took a lot of trying to explain to people the value of these things, and explaining who the hell we are. Just a couple of random dudes with cameras coming into the poker room.
Lewis and Clark.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the value has been proven. So hopefully,
I mean, you can't really give Andrew enough credit for like how much he's done in the poker world, and you too, Doug, but for like slightly different things. I mean, this vlogging thing was pretty much all Andrew's idea. I know we talked about the Trooper stuff earlier, but Andrew really is the one who got me started, and I know like dozens of other people for sure. And then the whole meetup game concept was really Andrew's idea as well. Or at least I'd never heard of anybody doing it, certainly not to the extent that it's being done now. And so he's just like, I feel like poker's just lucky to have Andrew.
Totally.
I mean, a lot of this stuff, we sort of envisioned, but a lot of it took on a lot of life on its own too, So once you see like enthusiasm from people about what you're doing, it's really motivating to like keep doing more of it and try and like investigate ways that you can grow this thing and come up with new fun ideas to do with the audience. So, like just having the enthusiasm of people to get together over a social night of poker. I don't think Brad and I envisioned getting like 20 plus tables at Maryland Live Casino worth of people that watch these videos when we started making them.
I have to give you both credit here that I think that the poker world is very lucky to have both of you, and you guys have made a real impact on people getting into the game and the happiness people have playing the game. And I've seen this firsthand at some of these meetup games where it's just filled, the room is filled to the brim with people that are excited to be there. They're flying in from out of town. They're coming to hang out. They want to be on the vlog. They want to meet the guys they watch. I mean, you guys have had a real impact on people that make them want to play the game of poker and love poker. So it's phenomenal for it's just been great for the game to have both of you guys.
Thanks, Doug.
We can all give each other a pat on the back. We've all done good, guys. Everyone's done good. I had one last thing I wanted to talk about here before we call it a day. It's already been approaching 2 hours, but I want to talk a little bit about future plans for the lodge and where we're going to try and take things and what some of our goals are on that front. Because I've already said that our goal is ultimately going to be to try and open more locations, and we're going to be very careful with where we choose to open. I don't want this to turn into we're just opening up places all over the place. I want to be very tactful with how we do it and pick out good spots. I saw a lot of comments on my last video where I talked about it, where people were on my poker channel, where people were talking about all kinds of different places we could open rooms and everything. But what are you guys seeing as far as what the lodge looks like in a few years, and maybe what are maybe some of your goals on that front? And is there anywhere in specific you'd like to see maybe have a location, and just general future plans for the lodge?
Would love to consider the Midwest. Just having grown up in Michigan, there is this charity room model in Michigan. So I don't know. I mean, obviously it's going to take a lot of research and stuff, whether these different models are the right models for us. If not Michigan, Ohio is another potential option. So being in that region, just having come from there would be great. I know, Doug, you're probably not going to want to go there in the wintertime, but we'll work it out.
Wherever we have a lodge, Andrew, I will go. I will man up, and I will put on 3 tank tops for warmth, and I'll get out there.
Wow. Impressive. Other regions. Yeah, I mean, California is a tough one. Like, it would be awesome to have a business in California, have a poker room in California. Like, the poker culture in California is so massive that, and Brad's from Northern California. I love going to Southern California. It'd be cool to have a place there to call our own. Then you get into the weeds of all the regulatory restrictions and things and taxes and all that stuff that goes along with any California discussion. And maybe it's a little tough. I don't know, but I would love to at least investigate it and see if it's doable.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to just throw out a place. Like, California would be great, but we really have to look into the legality of it, and so you kind of have to go state by state and figure out what the laws and regulations are and everything, which makes it a little bit trickier. But yeah, California would be great. I do like the idea of doing something just outside of Texas in general to make it more of a national feel. But with regards to our plans, with the lodge, I think just to have us all making content from there and making this live stream something that's special, or just getting it out there to more people, is a goal. It's already a pretty special thing, but a lot of people just don't know about it. So developing the YouTube channel with the lodge, trying to maintain the same vibe that it has, since it's so player friendly, but also trying to expand it and throwing these big events. That's going to be, kind of I don't want to say a tightrope thing, but that's something that you have to balance both those things. So that's kind of something that I am, focused on.
Yeah, you have to think about the business side of it, where it makes sense to go, and then also the promotion side, right? I think us three, we're kind of the more foot soldiers in a way, where we've got to be on the ground. We got to make sure we're going to locations. We got to make sure we're doing events. We're promoting things. And I know I'm going to be doing my absolute best to make sure it's a success. I think wherever we open next, I'll definitely be traveling out to visit and play at and promote. It's tough with population centers like Florida. I think Florida is just a hard no. I see a lot of people in the chat saying Florida. I think Florida is a hard no because the laws there are just they're not friendly for poker, and a lot of it's Indian casino type situations that isn't going to make sense for us. California is not quite as hard of a no, but it's tough. I think
they only have 30 something licenses for card rooms, so it's kind of tough to get in there. I don't think they're likely to expand that for new owners. They made that structure so that people from Vegas wouldn't come in and make card rooms.
Makes sense. Vegas also probably not another good spot. I know there's a lot of poker players there, but it's just so saturated.
What
Vegas would be.
Oh, sorry. What has been like your feeling when you've gone into the lodge? Like now that we have the deal closed and everything, like was there like a immediate like conscious like difference walking in there as the owner?
People are excited. A lot of people came up and introduced themselves to me. I'm more than happy to chat with anyone at the lodge. You're welcome to come up, take a picture, hang out, talk about your thoughts on things, or just chit chat, whatever. It's all everyone's welcome to come talk to me. I got a lot of feedback from players. I think the general temperature in the room was everyone was excited. People are excited for kind of what the future looks like and all the cool stuff that we're going to do. And I think people are definitely excited for more games, different kinds of games, more options on what they can play. There were people that were a little concerned, don't change things here. I really love playing here. We're not going to do that. So, I want to make sure those people feel heard. There are also different things to improve on. People have kind of pitched me some stuff I think makes more sense than others. Some stuff is opinion. Like, let me give you an example for one thing that we're going to have to think about a bunch moving forward is the 1-2, 1-3, and 2-5 player pool in Texas are all kind of similar, but they're a little bit different. And it kind of boils down to two different things. Do you like match the stack, or do you like a hard cap buy-in? And then do you like PLO bomb pots? And where you stand on those two things decides if you're a 1-2, 1-3, or 2-5 player. Not the blinds, but how you feel about those two things decides. I think 1-2, God, I should know this. I think 1-2 is hard capped on the buy-in to 300. I think 1-3 is match the stack, but no PLO bomb pots. And I think 2-5 is match the stack and PLO bomb pots, which is a good amount bigger, by the way. Even though the blinds are only 2.5x the 1-2, roughly 2.5x. It's way bigger because people can buy in for the biggest stack. And then the PLO bomb pots, you're going to play some big ass PLO bomb pots. As we played in your vlog last time you were in Texas, Brad. So
saw that.
Yeah, I saw. I watched. I've been checking out the vlogs.
Nice.
I've been checking them out a little bit every now and then. I tune in, see what you guys are up to.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times the bomb pots can determine a session. Basically, if you get into a couple of those big hands in the bomb pots, then those are going to be some major swings that are going to be probably the biggest pots that you play in the game that day.
Yeah, and so it's tough because I get players that tell me all kinds of different things about those three structures, what they like and don't like. And it does feel a little weird when you have like a bunch of 1-2, but then some 1-3, and then those players could play together, but really the fork in the road is, do they like to match the stack or not? So, I mean, I don't want to make any changes on the system if everything's working. And so far, it seems like everything is going great. But, I obviously want to know how people feel about things and what kind of changes that we can make that people would like. And most of the feedback has been really positive with the experience of the lodge. They enjoy the lodge. There's a reason it's the biggest room. But yeah, obviously I want to make the product better. And the reality is, I'm not going to be upset if someone has something negative to say. They think it could be better. Let's improve whatever we can. Let's make this the best place that we can make it. And let's not change the core of the business. It's done great so far. Let's try and accent it and make it better and do a better job on the promotional front, and then just look for new places.
Yeah, I think we're all like pretty approachable people. If people have feelings about the way that the games are being run or the structures or whatever, just having additional ears to hit with these with ideas that people have about the games, then I think it's generally a good thing.
Agreed. So let's go ahead and end here then on this note, guys. If you want to come meet me, Andrew, and Brad, the last week of January, we've got a chock full schedule. And I really should, what I should have done, it would have been smart. It would have been smart to have an image of the schedule I could pull up and just show you guys. But I didn't do that because I didn't have the foresight to, think out one day ahead. But we have a full schedule of events. It's going to be a week long. It's going to start on the 24th of January and go until the 30th. 24th will be a stream with me, Brad, and Andrew. I believe it's 2-5 or 5-10. That'll be streamed. So if you're not going to be in Austin, you can check that out. Tuesday is going to be, and actually, before we go, I want you guys' thoughts on this. Tuesday, we're going to try the biggest meetup game in Texas history. I don't want to get too aggressive, but I think we might actually have the largest one in the history of the world for meetup games. We're going to see how many 2-5 games we can get going at once. I need some takes here. What's your under over, guys? What are your number tables? Set the line.
I'm going to set it at 18. I think we can get 18. I mean, it'd be great if it was the biggest one ever. I think it's just a little bit tough with the current climate of things. That's my only concern. Otherwise, I think we'd get potentially the largest one.
I will say 19, but Brad is my numbers guy. So I think he set a good line here.
I see what you're doing here, Andrew. You're just trying to go one up on Brad, so you're going to beat him no matter what. It's well played. You were using your position. Well, I'm going to use my position. I'm going to go 20. No, I'm kidding. I think we're going to go bigger, guys. I'm going to say 25 games. 25 2-5 games. Let's do it. 25. We've already got a bunch of people on the list. I'm going to be there all the time promoting it. Let's see how many people we can drive out here. Let's set one for the books. Come down to Austin and play some 2-5.
If I send the schedule to the Telegram right now, will you be able to bring it up or just forget it?
I can. You want to send it to me? Yeah, shoot it over.
Also, I've got a meetup game type event at in 50 minutes at Aria. If anyone is in Las Vegas and looking for something to do.
Wow, that's real. A lot of meetup games.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I got the meetup schedule, guys, from Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. All right, let's pull it up so you guys can see what we're talking about. If you are on the audio platforms, then you'll have to check this out over on Twitter, the Lodge. I think it's probably the pinned tweet. I think if it's not, it will be soon. Okay, let's see here. This is the schedule. All right, so you guys can see opening day, the 24th, 8 p.m. Central Time. These are all going to be Central Time. It's going to be us three battling on stream. I believe that's going to be 5:10. Tuesday is going to be the biggest meetup game in Texas history. And we're going to have a stream table as well. That'll be one of the meetup games. I think that we'll have a seat open, and then us three can kind of rotate in onto the stream. That'd be cool. Wednesday, we're going to kick off the monthly monster. Once again, it's our monthly $500,000 guaranteed live tournament. We're going to way break that, in my opinion. I guess time will tell. I don't want to overpromise, underdeliver, but I think we're going to smash that. That will be day one. There'll be 2 flights at noon and at 8. It is a rebuy, so you can bring as many bullets as you want. In Andrew's case, that would be 1. At 3 o'clock on Wednesday, Jacob Dalla will be hosting a mixed game sesh. I'm going to get in there for that too. It should be a fun one. And then we're going to do a feature table on stream as well that day, so you can see what it is like in this $600 tournament at the Lodge, so you get a feel for the monthly monster. Thursday, Andrew is going to be hosting a PLO game at 1 p.m.
I'm going to hop in there too for the PLO. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Sweet. So we'll have that going on with Brad as well. 2 flights once again for the monthly monster. Friday is Bomb Pot Cash Games with Brad Owen. Brad, did we pick the stakes out on this yet?
I don't think so. I think we're likely doing 2-5 or 5-5 with bomb pots every 15 minutes.
Okay, so we're gonna have a constant stream of bomb pots coming in.
Yeah,
a lot of bomb pots.
Yeah,
barbecue and bomb pots.
2 favorite things.
2 favorite things. Also, Friday we're gonna have a high stakes cash game stream going. I don't know what the stakes on that will be either. Should really get some stakes all figured out, but that one I'm not going to be playing on. I'm just going to be commentating. I'm sure if either one of you guys wanted to play that would be cool. Saturday, I'm going to be playing on the high stakes stream at 8 p.m. And then we'll be starting a game a little earlier on, 2 p.m. I don't know why I did it in that order. 2 more flights for the monthly monsters. You can see there's 4 starting days. And then Sunday will be the ending day of the festivities. We're going to have pizza and football on and some casual low stakes poker, shoot the shit. And then this culminates in the final table of the monthly monster at probably 8 p.m., but it might start later. And we're going to host that thing until it ends. Guys, I've been told it could go until 3 a.m. Are you ready?
I'll be there.
Yeah, we're in.
All right. Us 3 will be commentating that to close. And that's the street. That's the week, guys. So anyone that wants to come visit, I'd strongly recommend getting hotels and stuff now, because I think this stuff will fill up and we're going to have a ton of people in town. So get everything sorted out immediately. Get in some wait lists. You can get a poker atlas, get in the wait list, and make sure you don't miss anything. All right, guys. Thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. Any last words with that stuff you want to promote? Brad, you True Natural already worked it in, but any last thing you guys want to promote? What you got coming up?
I got nothing. I'm looking forward to getting down there. Looking forward to hanging out at the Lodge. What a week. Monster Meetup week. Going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably by far the biggest event that we've been a part of. So a whole week long fun stuff. So hopefully I just don't get too wrecked, basically.
Yeah, there's gonna be some major swings. I think playing some big games, playing those Texas games should be interesting.
Yeah, we'll do some vlogs too. We'll have to get 1 or 2 vlogs out there.
Oh yeah,
a little of that as well.
Get the temperature of the room. All right, guys. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate you guys hopping on the pod. And for you guys listening at home or watching live now, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you liked this episode, hit that thumbs up button, show some love, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. A lot of you guys are not yet subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss any future episodes. We're going to be back next week with guest. You love this one, to be determined. And then the week after with Charlie Lee. I'll see you guys then. Peace.